Welcome back to Artist Way check-in videos. I'm doing week 2 and 3 at the same time because I was busy making art. It was not due to this book. I mean, this book definitely has been helping. Just letting people know it's been wonderful. It's been great. Although there are like a bunch of other factors that are, I'm like, I mean, is it the artist's way or is it also this? And these factors are not to be understated, but they will be stated during this video. Still doing the morning pages like my life depends on it. I don't think I will stop this ever. Like it's nice to have a ritual. I love this ritual because it's like when you find yourself kind of ruminating and like debating over and over again, like the same things, you're like, oh man, I gotta do this. Oh man, I gotta do this. And she said that in the book. They're like, there's a finite number of times where you can like bitch and complain about something. And then you're like, okay, you know what? Maybe I should just like, so let's do the check-ins together. I should preface all of this with, since I ruptured my Achilles tendon, I knew I was gonna be like holed up at home. And I was like, okay, well, I know like it's January, like it was like this happened in December 2024, and I was gonna be like pretty much trapped at home. And I knew I was gonna be susceptible to the SADS, seasonal affective disorder, which is basically getting more depressed and more anxious because there's no sunlight, there's no vitamin D. And I figured now is the time to stop social media consumption. And I spoke about that in my last video where I was just like, there's only one way I can do social media, which is to produce and not consume. And so I turned it into a one-way street. I will put my stuff out there, no problem. I am not going to consume social media. Now this works for me because I have a tendency to abuse any kind of dopaminergic activity. Any activity that gives me a dopamine hit. Sugar, can't have it in the house. Candy, can't have it in the house. Anything that allows me to kind of dissociate with my phone, as I mentioned in my last video, I stopped completely. So I oftentimes just kind of like pick up my phone and I'm just like, what am I, So that's been great. Not consuming social media has basically been the equivalent of like closing like 50 Chrome tabs in your mind, and they were all playing audio. The elimination of this noise, I don't want to be over dramatic because everybody's like, oh my God, I quit social media and it turned around my life. It did turn around my life. Like, it's like, okay, I can like, follow thoughts. It was like the first time I took ADHD medication. It was like, okay, look at me. I'm thinking of a thought and it didn't just suddenly vanish. And I can follow it through and like I can do like analysis of different scenarios. I can make decisions more clearly, all without being sad, depressed, or like low dope. And low dope is the state of like when you're like too stimulated and not stimulated enough at the same time, when you're just kind of like in a zombie mode. People with ADHD can relate. Stopping this consumption of social media has also like, not only, I'm gonna put it up on the screen, like not only has made my sleep better, like the dips in the graph in my sleep score are where I looked at my phone before bed. And then I was just like, okay, shit, like I'm in my 30s. Sleep, I don't know about y'all, but like as you get older, sleep becomes a lot less negotiable, and like good sleep becomes like really, really important. And if you don't sleep, it just feels like you're gonna die. It feels like you wanna die. That's the thing. Like you don't feel like doing anything. You don't remember shit. You're like more snacky, more peckish, more irritable, more tired. Your workouts suck if you work out at all. Like it just cascades all over your life and your relationships and all those things. So I was just like, wow, this one thing, weird trick turned my life around. And that manifested in all these different physiological symptoms that I was having. Like I was having like urinary problems that I was like getting up to pee like 3, 4, 5 times a night. And then that was interrupting my sleep. And I was seeing like a urologist and like referrals and waiting for months and like doing all these tests and like peeing in like cups and like different hydraulic systems. And I was starting a new medication. I was just like, whoa. And then when I stopped social media, only before bed, that problem was fixed. Then I was like, okay, I stopped social media. And I keep saying social media. I just kept like, it's basically like doom scrolling, whether it's YouTube shorts or any kind of short form content or any kind of dissociative behavior with my phone. Everything just got so much better. Like I felt angry. I was just like, the fact that I was letting this like thing just like attach itself to my brain and just like make me crazy this whole time. And then I'm like, ah! And I took it off and I was just like, oh my God, I can like see clearly. It was like being unplugged from the Matrix. No exaggeration. So that is to say, all these positive things that I'm experiencing, I don't know if they're like, I can't attribute them only to the stuff that I'm doing with this book. They're definitely influenced by the fact that I've quit social media and like the mental health benefits cascading into physical health benefits. And that just kind of turning not turning my life around, because my life was pretty great, but like really making me just appreciate my own life so much more. Because I used to think like something's wrong with me. Like I've made it to different milestones that I had set for myself, and I got to these places, and these places are like exactly where I wanted to be. And then I'm just like, and I was like still dissatisfied. And I was like, oh, maybe it's the human condition. Maybe I'm just dissatisfied because it's the nature of human beings to be dissatisfied and to seek more. But then I was just like, no, actually being present and appreciating where you are, appreciating the beauty and appreciating like the mundane, specifically the mundane, is amazing. Allowing yourself to be bored breeds so much creativity, because boredom is not necessarily something that I have to remedy immediately, which was what my phone was trying to tell me to think and to do. That is to say, when my sleep got better, my workouts got better, my self-image got better, my anxiety got better, my depression got better, like I started taking vitamin D because there's no sun out there. Now that I am armed with this like mental clarity and this like presence and this appreciation for everything, I'm so much more intentional about everything that I do, including this. Which is like, it's like saying, hey, if you wanna, if you wanna start a 12-week workout program, would you like to do that with 50% of your mental capacity or with 100% of your mental capacity? If you'd like 100%, please quit doom scrolling and please quit wasting your time on your phone. If you would like to stop, if you really want to accomplish anything, would you like to do it with 10 pounds attached to each leg, or would you like to do it without 10 pounds attached to each of your legs? And if you would like it without, get rid of this. This is trying to kill me all the time. Computers should stay on the desk. Once the computer comes with you, it's a problem. People have been asking me, how are you? And I'm like, I'm excellent. Like, I'm really excellent. And like, knock on wood, inshallah, this keeps going. Ugh, I'm sweating in my pits. But I am genuinely answering that question. I'm excellent. And this is not about the book. It's just about nurturing this garden of excellence, or this garden of well-being. It takes a million little things. It's the sleeping better. It's the exercise. It's the not looking at my phone. It's the not consuming social media content. It's like controlling my news diet as well. But just really curating the kind of inputs that I'm getting into here so that I can also have some kind of form of control, or I can kind of direct the outputs that come out. Boredom breeds creativity, but it's also these million little things. So keep that in mind when you go into this, or literally anything that you do. So let's do the check-ins. This is week 2 check-in. How many times did you do your morning pages every day? Some days where I'm just like, I am running out of things to say. But then I'm just like, well, let's just keep writing nonsense. And then I'll wander onto another topic where I'm just like, oh yeah, this is like really getting on my nerves. So like, blah, blah, blah. And then I would actually fill out the 3 pages and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Sorry, did you do your artist date this week? So I have been doing a lot of things that are art making. So last week, I hosted my monthly comedy show, which was I'm sorry, like to my comedy partner who wasn't there, but it was the best one that he wasn't part of. It was just so incredible. Maybe 3 people were people who have been to the show before. Everybody else was brand new. And I should find out where these people are hearing about this, because like it's quite common for it actually. Out of the past 3 years, maybe 2 shows weren't sold out, but they sell out every time. Thank God, like alhamdulillah. I screened a promo, which is another thing that I did on my artist date, which is like I filmed a promo that is like a parody of couples therapy, and I posted it on YouTube. You should go check it out. I'll link it up here, whatever. I based a lot of the material about this promo, and I surveyed everyone. It's like, who's seen the promo in the audience? And like maybe 2-3 people raised their hands, and I was like, well, that's not gonna make sense. So I screened the promo at the show, which was my first time screening anything at the show, and it introduced this new kind of filmmaking, kind of audiovisual component to a comedy show, which I had never done before. So it really made it into a variety show. Let me tell you, like screening your things to a live audience and hearing laughter and getting applause is very different than likes and comments. It is so much more gratifying, so much better for people. First of all, you hear what parts of the video people laugh at, because you're like, oh, I did this take 3 times, but they gave me a couple of giggles. But then this other thing is like, everybody was cracking up. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that. You should go watch this video if you're curious. It's only a minute and a half. Did I say like, this is gonna be my artist date? No, I was just making art and I was doing those things. And that week leading up to this show was such a fantastic week in terms of like, she refers to this as like serendipity, or not serendipity, she calls it synchronicity, which is like when things are just kind of lining up and things are just kind of like happening and like the stars are aligning, and like like, you know, there's a lot of these like suspiciously wonderful coincidences that are like creatively fulfilling. And like, I don't know, it's a little bit like law of attraction-y, but it's still, if it's working, I'm not going to shoo it away, right? I think it's all of it, you know, whether it's the pages, it's a million little things. The garden of creativity is nurtured by a million little things that kind of manifests in ways where, like, if you're a creative who's like ever tried to create, like if I'm like sitting down to write and I'm gonna be like, this is gonna be the hilarious joke of the week, and it doesn't work, you know, like you have to kind of create this practice and things kind of come to you. It's just like really frustrating, like that it's like, it's kind of like ritualistic, but like the more you do it, presumably it gets better. But having listened to people on podcasts, like artists and like extremely famous actors, you know, nerves and like trying to force it, it never works. Like this is the one thing out of all of our control, no matter how big or small we are as artists, commercially speaking, forcing it never really kind of works. And if you're trying to force comedy, it's the worst. So I did do my artist. How did it feel? Were there any other issues this week that you consider significant for your recovery? It's like self-compassion. Like there are several times where I was just like, oh my God, it's week 2 and I still haven't filmed my check-in, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, you know what? This fine line between self-compassion and discipline, this fine line between forcing yourself to do something because you should do it and then like kind of only do it. There's no stay. I'm not getting paid to do this. Like I'm not getting paid to tell you, like I can post this like in 5 months. You wouldn't know. I have like 400 subscribers. I'm really, really grateful for the people that are watching, but I'm saying like the stakes aren't high. I'm not Mr. Beast. Like I'm not on a schedule. So like finding this balance, and I was just like, you know what? It'll happen when it happens. And I'm trusting myself not to be a lazy piece of shit and that I'm doing things when things are right. One thing that has been significant in my recovery is now, without social media and without this like hormonal disrupting situation, like neurodysregulating thing that is like constantly poisoning my mind. Come 9:30, like I've finished my work. I've been reading a lot more because like you got to do something with all of this time that became available. So I've been reading my e-reader. Come 9:30, 10 p.m. I've watched TV. I've already had dinner. My macros are on point, and I'm like I really lived today. I did all the things I was supposed to do, and I didn't just like jerk around and like waste time. I guess I'm just gonna go to bed at 10 p.m. and I would just like wake up maybe an hour and a half before I used to, or sometimes an hour before I used to, just because I slept early enough and I'm sleeping great because I'm not fucking up with my sleep. So I know this is like not really productive, but I really wish I had kind of done this in my 20s, like been a bit more disciplined, or even in my teen, but like who can discipline teenagers? Because this is really quite a superpower to be able to sleep well consistently at the same time every night. It's just really good for your sleep hygiene. Checking in. How many weeks on week 3 did you do your morning pages every day? How was the experience for you? If you skipped a day, why did you skip it? Okay, relax. I did not skip any days. Did you do your artist date this week? Yes. So between writing, watching movies, and going for walks, there's another thing that I like to do is it's kind of my guilty, like, I don't know if it's a guilty pleasure. I just like going to thrift stores or stores that have like these Amazon return bins that you could just like sift through. You're just like, no, I don't buy anything. I just like love looking at that stuff. Something that I inherited from my mom. So I did that, and that was really nice. I want to be more intentional about an artist's date, where I'm going to be like, I want to sit down and be like, I now declare this an artist's date. But I also don't want to put a lot of pressure on myself, and I also don't want to spend money, because like my money is like, it's like flying away. I don't like, please come back. Did you experience any synchronicity this week? I did. Last week, I pretty much came up with the idea of the promo of couples therapy like on the spot, and I filmed it on the spot, and I edited it on the spot, like all in one day. And it was so positively received online and during the screening, where I was just like, I actually don't have to, like, it's good for you to write, plan, shoot, edit, light, all those things, but it doesn't have to be like a big hurrah. And my therapist has noticed on me this like change in demeanor that I haven't really noticed, but like she said that she really sees something completely different in me, which is like, that is quite positive. And a lot of people are telling me that, oh yeah, you know, despite what's going on with your leg, you're really in good spirits. And I was just like, yeah. And they're like, how are you? I'm like, I'm excellent. That's the kind of synchronicity, bumping into people that I've been meaning to have more FaceTime with completely randomly, which has been like, whoa, I was just thinking about you and like suddenly you're here. So that was, there's a lot more. I wish I could be more cryptic, but I don't want to bore you with like all of these details, but just yes, definitely a lot of synchronicity. And I think it's just that these things are actually happening all the time. I'm just now noticing them because I'm not completely exhausted by consuming social media. The next one is, the next week is about recovering a sense of integrity. I have no idea what this is. I'm going to start reading this and I will fill you folks in. In the meantime, please watch my promo. It's 90 seconds. You might think it's hilarious. You might not think it's hilarious. I tried to this was also a practice in like copying. Another thing that I did, even though I said I wasn't gonna spend money, I spent like $300 and something on a sketch comedy writing class because I'm just like, you know what? Something that I've been saying I want to do all the time is take more classes. And find more collaborators. What better way to do that than to go to a sketch writing comedy class? So inshallah, this will be super fun. And I'll see you folks next week for check-in number 4.